Hey everybody, I'm here today to talk to you about 4 uses for the parking brake in a car. I'll be going over 4 specific ways to use this thing down here, which is the parking brake. Now let's get right into the video. Use number 1 is actually what I'm using it for right now, which is in an automatic car, in addition to putting the car in park. So a lot of people start off driving with a good habit of putting the gear selector in park and using the parking brake, but then as they've been driving for more and more years, they kind of just stop using the parking brake. And that's not a good idea. Now let me tell you why. The P on the gear selector, so the park on the gear selector, is actually the primary holding mechanism for an automatic car. But what happens if that fails? What happens if the components start to fail? Your parking brake, otherwise known as your emergency brake, will actually reinforce the parking mechanism. So with that being said, it's there to, number 1, prevent the car from rolling at all and doing damage to the parking gear components, but also just in case they fail, it's going to help you. Now, using it will actually most likely allow your parking gear components to last longer, just simply because you're not putting as much pressure on them because the car's not rolling forward or backward. When you put your automatic car in park and your parking brake is not on and you release the brake, when you feel it roll forward and stop or roll backward and stop? That's pressure, the pressure of the car being put on the components of the parking gear. So by using the parking brake, you're not only extending the life of that parking gear, but just in case it fails, your car is still going to be in the same spot, hopefully. All right, number 2 is in a manual car to keep it from moving. Now, a lot of people, when they stop their manual car, they'll pull the parking brake, otherwise known as the emergency brake, they'll engage it, and they might even leave their car neutral. And that's because in a manual car, the parking brake is what I know to be the primary holder of the car. And then if you want to leave your manual car in gear, that's like the secondary holding. That's like just in case the parking brake fails, your car being in gear will prevent it from rolling too far. So with that being said, in a manual car, it's sort of the opposite. The parking brake is the primary holder of the car, and the gear, leaving the car in a gear, is a secondary holder of the car. The third use for the parking brake is if your brakes fail. If you're in the unfortunate situation, you push your brakes, you do all of the things you need to do to try and get your brakes to work again, and there's just no braking power or not enough braking power to bring you to a stop, you can nice and slowly pull up on that parking brake, okay? Now the key is, if you have a parking brake like a hand brake like I do in this car, you want to press that button down and just slowly bring it up. You want to do something similar to what you do with the brakes. Because if you just crank that parking brake, you're going to probably send your car into a skid, and that's going to potentially cause you to lose control. So press on that button and just slowly, gradually bring that parking brake up and hold it up there so that it brings your car to a nice smooth stop and hopefully prevents your car from skidding. Last but not least, number 4, the 4th use for the parking brake is to actually put your car into a slide. Now, there are certain situations in which this can be very useful, okay? Let's say, you want to make a turn and there's not enough space to make a full turn, and for whatever reason you can't make a 3-point turn or anything like that. You can use the parking brake. Let's say it's snowing outside. You can use the parking brake to put your car into a slide. Here's a figurative situation. Let's say you're on a street or in an area and there's not a lot of space, and your reverse gear is broken. So you only have a forward gear. Let's just say your reverse gear is broken, so you can only go forward. What you can do is go forward and just use the parking brake to bring your car into a little slide to give it a 180, a nice controlled slide to bring it to 180, and then you can drive the other way. And that allows you to turn around on a somewhat narrow area without using the reverse gear. I know it's a figurative situation, but just saying, it might happen. And that's the use for the parking brake. And that's basically it. In this video, I've gone over 4 uses for the parking brake in a car. I've gone over a use, for an automatic car, use for a manual car, and then 2 uses for automatic or manual, no matter which one you're driving. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down below. What else do you use your parking brake for? Let me know as a comment down below. And of course, be sure to subscribe for more great car and driving videos just like this one. And that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.